Welcome to the neighborhood gist corners, where stories are never ending.
How Segun broke Tope's heart with deceit. Tope was a very decent lady with good parental upbringing, but her problem lay in her inability to make a good decision for herself. The fact that she was unable to properly judge or study a man's character by his appearance affected her life a lot. Before she met Segun, a young man of about her age who proposed to her, she was in a relationship with Bolu, another young man who wanted to marry her, but Bolu was not as handsome and trendy as Segun, whom she had just met. Tope rejected Bolu's love because he wore native clothes and they were not exactly new, but they fitted him most of the time. Even though he always looked pleasant and decent, it did not appear to Tope that Bolu was a good choice. His appearance as a young man who wore Ankara native every time made her irritated, and the fact that he had only a pair of sandals made it worse for him to be accepted by Tope. She disliked and completely ignored his love advances. But unknown to Tope, Bolu was a very intelligent university graduate with a promising future. He also came from a family with a good pedigree and of honesty. But unfortunately, his poor background affected his chances with Tope and many other ladies he had approached before her. Unknown to many, the old native clothes he wore most of the times were gifts from his uncle, who he lived with while he was still in search of a job. Tope eventually married Segun, who unfortunately did not have the kind of qualifications Bolu did. He was dubious, dishonest, and a school dropout with no manner of educational qualification. His good looks and trendy fashion sense with his averagely wealthy background are some of the things that made Tope agree to marry him. She thought that with all those qualities, she would have a quality life with him. Prior to marriage, Tope failed to notice that Segun was desperate to get married to her because of her rich status and promising future. She already had a good job with one of the leading telecoms company in the country. Tope failed to see that Segun had no permanent job or profession, but only good looks and sugar-coated tongue. There are many men who seek to plunge into relationship with any lady whom at the end of the day become a liability to such ladies or women. An example of such men is Segun. A few years after Tope had got married to Segun, reality began to dawn on her. She began to realize that Segun was not the kind of husband she envisaged that he would be. He was a lazy man that had no interest in getting a job since he lost the job she got for him. He did not even bother to look for another job, and when she tried to get another one for him, he showed no interest and he kept on living off her income. Tope tried every way to get him employed. She even gave him a huge sum of money she had borrowed from a bank to help kickstart a good business. But Segun squandered it all. Tope was a God-fearing lady with good upbringing. She continued to endure him. At least he was good to her children, she thought. Tope planned to build a house for her parents, and she bought a piece of land in the suburban area of the city where they had lived. She entrusted the project to Segun, her husband's care, due to the busy nature of her job. Segun met with the owners of the land. He eventually purchased some plots of land from them and gave his wife the documents. Tope handed the documents to her father. Years after that, she had saved enough money to enable her start the building project for her parents. She discussed with her parents and siblings in a meeting. They were very happy and prayed for her. In that meeting, she suggested that her husband should supervise the project, but her younger brother offered to do it instead. The project took off, but Segun felt very uneasy and uncomfortable. So so much to the extent that his wife noticed it. She wondered and asked why he felt that way, and Segun ignored her questions. Not until the day the news got out to her in the office, then she realized why he had been feeling that way with her decision to have her brother oversee the project. She was told that her younger brother and all the workers on her site were being detained in an army barracks for building on a land owned by a military man. Unknown to Tope and her parents, that Segun had resold the land which he bought for them to an army officer years after they had purchased the land, and the land had appreciated to 500% above its original value. He kept the money to himself without the knowledge of Tope. Tope decided to fight back for the land and took the case to the law court. In the court, Segun was implicated and how he bought the land in his name but forged the document he presented to his wife and his in-laws. Tope eventually lost the case to get the land back, but she did not lose the case of evidence of fraud she laid against Segun, her husband. Segun ended up in prison for his atrocities, while Tope regretted her marriage to a man.
Thank you guys for listening to our story. We love you. If you enjoy our story, keep liking and watching our videos for more interesting episodes. Thanks and goodbye.